What will you give us today that will help us to accept our brothers as ourselves? Help us to see our glory and our innocence, and to accept nothing false as true. That's a pretty big question with a little bitty answer. How do we accept our brothers as ourselves? How do we see our glory and our innocence? And how do we accept nothing false as true? Here's the answer. You will see your brother as yourself when you are willing to accept only your love as true. And love here is capitalized. Sometimes you'll notice that when I write love, it has a capital L. And sometimes when I write love, it has a lowercase l. Whenever I write love with a capital L, it is because I also understood the word to be synonymous with oneness, to be synonymous with our truth. So we aren't talking about the feeling of love. We're talking about the reality of love. You will see your brother as yourself when you are willing to accept only your love as true. For what you accept, you reflect. While you accept other thoughts as true of you, as truly yours, you see those thoughts reflected as your brother. Yet, you accept those thoughts and reject them simultaneously. And so you reject the reflection that is your brother. So what the Holy Spirit is talking about is, again, if we're not accepting our love, which is synonymous with our oneness, then what we are accepting is ideas of separation. Ideas of separation are ideas you're very familiar with. Ideas of attack, ideas of defense, ideas of hatred, ideas of inequality. You know, he's greater than me or he is less than me. Ideas of unworthiness. It could be, my unworthiness or his unworthiness. Ideas of guilt. It could be my guilt or it could be his guilt. But you know all these separation ideas that are in the mind. So what Holy Spirit is saying is if I'm not accepting my love as true, or I'm not accepting our oneness as true, then what I'm doing is I'm accepting something else as true. Right? I'm either accepting our oneness as true, or I'm accepting something else as true. And that something else that I'm accepting are the thoughts of separation. I'm believing they're true, and I'm believing they're my true thoughts. And if I'm accepting those thoughts, then I'm going to see them reflected in my brother. So he's really talking about projection here. So if I am accepting the thoughts of separation, then when I look at my brothers, I'm going to experience them as separate than me. I may experience them as better than me. I may experience them as worse than me. I may experience them as guiltier than me, more innocent than me, more unworthy than me, worthier than me. It doesn't really matter. I'm definitely going to experience them as separate from me. But what he is saying is that I'm accepting these thoughts into my mind, which means I'm believing these thoughts. I'm accepting these thoughts into my mind. But because they don't feel right, I also reject them. So, for example, I'm going to pick on Mary Ellen just because my eyes landed on her. So, Mary Ellen, get ready. I'm going to pick on you. Of course, everything I'm saying I'm making up, so it doesn't really matter. But if I have Mary Ellen on some kind of a pedestal, I think Mary Ellen is this incredible teacher that is much, much better than me. I can't put Mary Ellen on some kind of a pedestal and truly love Mary Ellen too, because what I have done is I have separated her from me. So what's going to happen when I put Mary Ellen up on this pedestal is that my mind is also going to simultaneously reject this thought it has accepted. So I'm going to be accepting a false idea. I'm then going to reject this idea simultaneously, which means at some point I'm going to reject Mary Ellen. What seems to be my admiration for her as a great teacher, what seems to be my love for her, what seems to have me, telling everybody how wonderful Mary Ellen is, at some point is going to turn to disappointment and hatred. And we all know this. We all know that whoever we put on a pedestal at some point has to fall. And the reason for that is because we accept false thoughts and we reject the false thoughts. So we can never experience ourselves as one with our brother. We can never experience our brothers as ourself if we are accepting false thoughts into the mind, because we accept the false thoughts and we reject them, which means we will also at some point reject our brothers. And we may reject them off and on, like when you're married. Everybody knows what being married is like. One day you're madly in love, the next day you're not. The rejection shows up. The next day you're madly in love, the next day you're not. Whenever we see someone as separate from us, the rejection has to occur. So let me read that paragraph again. You will see your brother as yourself when you are willing to accept only your love as true. For what you accept, you reflect, while you accept other thoughts as true of you, as truly yours. You see those thoughts reflected as your brother, yet you accept those thoughts and reject them simultaneously, and so you reject the reflection that is your brother. I cannot see you as one with me because I'm accepting the thoughts of separation and rejecting those thoughts at the same time, which means I must also reject you. Forgive the thoughts you do not want, the thoughts that are not love. And again, love is synonymous with oneness. Forgive the thoughts you do not want, the thoughts that are not love, which is your true will. When there is nothing in your mind except that which is truly yours, there will be nothing in your mind you are tempted to reject. So you will not reject the reflection that is your brother. You will accept him as yours, your one true self, and you will love and be grateful for the self that is you. So again, what Holy Spirit is saying is when I fully accept our oneness as our only truth, and I no longer accept the false thoughts of separation into my mind as true, then I will no longer reject the reflection that is you. I'll let go of the mic and see if anybody has anything to share.